Well, I don't want it to be silent too long if anybody watches the replay. Welcome to Virginia. This is Winchester. It's real close to the border of West Virginia, and you go through that small little stick, and then you end up in Maryland. And then you're in Maryland for a little bit, and then you'll be in Pennsylvania. I'm headed to Wintersville, Ohio. It's just right over the border from West Virginia, because you got that western pinky finger type thing going through between Ohio and Pennsylvania. So I got to drive through Pittsburgh, go through some tunnels, get into West Virginia, and zigzag around and get into Ohio, and then get on US 22 and take it to Wintersville and deliver to the Walmart there. But I can't deliver there until after midnight tonight. So I'll just drive as closely as possible, hopefully find a parking spot and shut it down. Note to Bootsy Bonita, if she were to watch this or to enter in the room, I'm sorry I wasn't able to meet with you yet, even though we've come very close. You missed me at my home truck stop there at the Petro in Ohio by about 11 and a half hours. And you were in Arlington, which I'm about 60 miles from Arlington, maybe a little bit more, 60, 70 miles. But you left today and went to North Carolina. I was in Monrovia, and it was like 48 miles away. And I was hoping my next load would have took me down to North Carolina, but I picked up at Hood, which is make very good dairy products. I'll get back to that in a minute. And I just got it. I got to deliver it to the Walmart. It's drop and hook. And so tomorrow, once I drop and hook, snag an empty trailer and get a washout, I'll find out where I'll be going then. I can end up anywhere. But I'm long overdue to go to North Carolina. I haven't been in North Carolina in probably 2 or 3 months. But I really pick the damnedest times to have a live stream. But nobody's doing any. It's not like when back in 2020, in 2020, when the lockdowns happened, I can count on being on a live stream almost all day long in different live streams every day. Now it's getting to be like, well, you only can be in a live stream once or twice a week. That's getting pitiful. I mean, granted, not everybody lives on YT, but come on. You have to admit, even the people that we can't hate, we made good friends here the past 4 years. I know I did. But the shout out to Bootsy Bonita. I hope to be able to make it to North Carolina before you hop on that international flight to Baltimore on the 7th, head back to the Philippines. I really do. Because I can at least meet somebody and, oh yeah, he's a nice guy. He's not a douchebag. He's just like he is on the live stream. But it's Thursday afternoon. Thursday early morning for the other people on the other side of the planet. And if you woke up early for work, you might as well just relax, sit down and have a cup of coffee and get ready for work and show up early. Early bird gets the worm. Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. But hence the word, he said man. I don't know about women, but I would put it like this for women: early to bed, early to rise makes a woman last crabby ass. That's how I would put that. Oh, back to the shipper I picked up at. I'm trying to understand. There's some of these companies that just it does not match. What would interest one company to own another one that has nothing to do with its originality? What I mean by that is when I went to Hood to pick up this load, they said drop your empty in H lot or D lot, whatever spot you put it in, write down the number on this little slip of paper and give it to the guard when you leave. I'm like, oh, cool, okay. Oh, and she goes, and we will send you, while you go to drop this trailer, we will send you a text that'll tell you what spot and what number your trailer is. My new trailer is 250494, brand new. It's only a week old. It was in, I can't remember what spot, D36. It was like right across from me by a stroke of luck. And I picked it up and I looked at the text message of where it came from. I almost just deleted the thing without looking at it. But I said, what the hell are they texting me for? So I figured maybe I can get a good deal, but I haven't flown with that airline since I was a kid. I clicked on it and it told me where my trailer and my where my loaded trailer was. And I was like, Delta Airlines. I could not understand that. Hi, Georgie. It said Delta Airlines, and I'm at Hood, which is they make great dairy products, and they make really good 2% and 1% milk. And I mean, they're really good at it. And they seal it airtight like you would if you bought like a thing of prescription pills or whatever. You got that like air seal. You peel it off the lid. Okay, that's what Hood is. Hood is dairy products like milk, cheese, and everything else. But the text came from Delta Airlines, and they own it. And I'm like, this makes absolute no sense. What does an airline own a? Well, it's Hood is prestigious in this area. They got good dairy products. It's about as good as Borden. And I'm like, what did Delta Airlines have interest in a dairy farm or dairy warehouse? I mean, this about makes as much sense as a convent holding a dildo factory. It just don't make sense. Oh well, any way to make money, I guess. But oh, by the way, I just crossed into West Virginia, and I lost my only guest. I had Georgie for a brief moment, and she went kaput. I ought to tell you what kind of shows I have to talk about. Man, do I suck that bad? Jesus. I'm sorry I can't karaoke. I can't karaoke when I'm driving or on my cell phone doing a live stream. I can only do that when I'm on my laptop. But I'm only good as an entertainer the more people I have in the live stream. So if I only got a few people, I'm really not all that entertaining. And somebody give me something to talk about. I gotta create things and come up with something to talk about. And sometimes it leads into economics or something, which is totally boring for some people. It shouldn't be. It should be very interesting to everybody because economics affects you, me, and the tree, literally. But if you're not from the United States, try to stay away from our advice. We're good at leading people over a cliff. Um, our ideas are shit. We become a joke, which I pity. I mean, I like to be funny, yes, but not like this. I mean, yes, we used to have leadership that we could look up to, men that were revered. Not anymore. Those days are long gone. No, we bring in comedians and a bunch of clowns and reality TV people because we'd rather be entertained and get screwed than live a good life and everybody doing the right thing. But I wanted to talk about culture basically, and everybody tries to nail down what kind of culture we have over here in the States. Well, to be honest with you, it's a mixture of all of them all over the world. That's what makes the United States unique. That was the founding idea, if you want to know. And the good Lord and God, yeah, he probably thought it was a brilliant idea. So people would stop killing each other over what color skin they are or what they look like. So we got a country where we could all live together in peace and harmony and learn from each other's culture and celebrate each other's culture. Instead of some people saying, only my culture is important, screw you, who cares about yours? Well, we got too many people that are like that, and it's sad. Where I come from, we celebrated culture, religion, all of it. It was a fruit salad, is what it is. That's what the idea of the United States is supposed to be. We're the melting pot of the world. Yeah, it's just like a fruit salad. You take it all and you mix it in a blender, or you put it in a Cuisinart and see what comes out. That's more like the truth there. But that's the only thing that makes the United States unique. Other than that, we suck, or we allowed to have that attitude. There's too many people out here that act like shame millionaires, and they never were, but they act like it. I'll tell you what my dad taught me is said this: hey, any excuse to have a good time. My dad didn't care. He didn't care if you were Jewish, Islamic. He didn't care at all. You had a holiday that you were celebrating. Hey, bring that over here. Let's have a good time. Like my dad said, any excuse to have a good time. Make friends. Why not? It's fun. Life is depressing as it is. It's depressing every time you go to work, almost for most people. Not so much for me, but it is depressing because I don't get to see my kids as much as I'd like to. But it's a fair trade. I provide for them very well, for them to have a good life, to sacrifice my happiness. I'll do that any day of the week. It's just the way I was raised. But I don't tell them the bullshit story that I was being told being brought up. I told them, you have to go to college. And even though you go to college and graduate, isn't going to guarantee you're probably going to find a good paying job. Because we got so many college graduates looking for work, not at a job, went back home and could not find a job because there's none available. Back in the day, you went to college, you were pretty well set. You were going to get a good paying job. You were going to build yourself up. You're going to have a good life. Not anymore. Those days is gone. And if you don't have college, you still ain't never going to get it. The person with a college degree has maybe a little bit better of a chance. But even then, like I said in my last live stream, 1 out of 400 students that graduate college every year, 1 out of every 400, the last time I looked, will go on and find a good paying job, middle class or above. The rest of them are lucky to be a barista at Starbucks. And my proof, I could take you because I'm headed to the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and each plaza has a Starbucks in it, except for one. It went to a Dunkin' Donuts. And I know why they shut that one down, because they became unionized, so they shut it down. Pretty sleazy move there, but oh well. But you got to have a BA to even have them look at your application at a Starbucks. You have to have a BA. If you don't have a BA, your application goes right in the trash. They won't even look at it. A BA is a business associate's degree for those who don't know. But a BA really doesn't teach you too much. Yeah, it's good to have one, but they don't teach you too much that you just can't figure out helping somebody run a business to begin with. But this sitting around waiting for, the rich capitalists that live here in the States creating something and making a warehouse to create new jobs, you people are going to die of old age and never get anywhere. Okay, because there is no growth in that direction, because these executives and these boards of directors of these major corporations are not interested. They're not interested. Even if they were to profit, they're still not interested. They'd be like, okay, how much am I going to profit? And if they can't profit 100% or more, they're not going to do it. They're not going to invest. So the idea is this: we don't need those rich capitalist leaders of the boards of directors and the major shareholders of these corporations. We don't need people like that. All it takes is the willingness of like a small town, a neighborhood. You get enough people together and you decide what you're going to produce, how you produce, and what are you going to do with the profits afterward. You figure all that out democratically, and then you visit the mayor, the governor, and the senator of your state, and you get support that way. Like, you need to support us to do this. And when we do this, it'll bring tax revenue to you, the state, the neighborhood in which we live, and it'll create jobs, and we'll campaign for you and say, look, you save these neighborhoods, you provided a means to people to have meaningful work and to contribute to society and make a living for their family, and we'll campaign for you, and that looks good to them. It's the same tactic as those capitalists did when they got started. You just take a page of what they did and you do the same thing. That's how you do this. Has it happened? Many a times. Contact somebody that lives in northwestern Iowa and they'll tell you. A lot of those people in that area caught on to what they were doing up there in Wisconsin and Minnesota nearby. And they were like, well, that was a lovely idea. And they done it. Shocked the hell out of me when I went through town in northwestern Iowa too. I picked up a load of beef, and it was a worker co-op. The whole town was co-op this, co-op that, co-op that. Everybody worked. Houses were beautiful. Lawns were manicured. There were no begging asses anywhere. Or someone hocked up on fentanyl. No, this lovely neighborhood. It reminded me of when I was a kid, the way things used to be. Everybody worked, everybody made a living, no homeless. In reality, we don't need those rich people. Because that's our future, folks. You're finally going to get freedom of choice. Would you like to work in a top down hierarchical meritocracy that's totally undemocratic? Or would you like to work in a democratic workplace? Which way do you think people are going to go? And I'm all for it. I just wish I can get some of the town people in the town I live with just to give me an hour of their time, maybe more, if they're still interested, and not walk out. Because I have real answers, not some fantasy and bullshit story to make them feel good, giddy and good inside and a gotcha moment. No, no, no. We're all similarly situated, folks. If you're listening to me or listening to somebody else's live stream, you're not a rich person. You're similarly situated, just like me. And we have more in common than what you think. And I just created this live stream, see who would come in here, talk about anything. So I put hood podge. It's actually hodgepodge, but the place I picked this load up from was kind of confusing. It's like, oh, they're owned by Delta Airlines? That doesn't make sense at all. Anybody wanted to come up to the panel, that's why I dropped the link. It's right at the top. And if nobody can see it and wants to, just type in the chat. I glance over here and there. And 14 miles, I'll be in Hagtown. Hagersville, Maryland. And I'm going to make it up to, I'm going to at least get on the turnpike before I shut down this evening. Too bad it's not Friday. Because at least we had some live stream to look forward to, karaoke and have a ball. Yeah, find something to do. Wish I was in northern Pennsylvania because there's a truck stop I can park up there. It's right next to a cattle farm. I can go out cow tipping with a couple of drivers just for the hell of it. I hadn't done that in years. Can't run like I used to, though. I admit that. But life's a risk, Corna. But that's one thing I found pretty difficult to do. Run for your life, like your life depended on it. At the same time, you're dying laughing. That's kind of difficult at when I was younger. I had a hard time with that. Be on a dead run for that wooden fence. That's one thing I was good at. I knew that me laughing and running like this, I'm having a hard time, and that cow is gaining on me. I just didn't even touch the fence. I dove over that fence without skipping a beat. Because once you hit the ground, you're not going to be moving because you're going to be laughing. And that cow you just dumped over is very angry. One thing I will not do is do it if there's any bulls in there. Them bulls will get underneath you and vault you into 20 feet in the air like you were nothing. And the vaulting really won't hurt you. What will hurt you is falling 20 feet. And you're flopping around. Oh, yeah, that's not good. I've seen what happened to those matadors in the bullfighting down in Mexico back in the day. Yeah, they went flying through the air. Ooh, but when they hit the ground, that didn't look good. Break a leg, break an arm. Uh, now, believe me, about Bootsy Bonita, I really wish I could have met up with her already, but it's just the way it goes, and I wouldn't expect her to have to drive an hour, you know, just to have lunch or dinner with me. No, I wouldn't let that happen. Not that far, but I got to try. And hopefully, when I go to North Carolina, I deliver in like Dunn or something like that along 95, because I'm assuming where she's going to visit extended family is along Interstate 95 there. And there are a lot of truck stops, a lot of nice truck stops along Interstate 95 in North Carolina. Um, yeah, one that I like is the Petro. I believe that it's Dunn, North Carolina, up in 95. It's got a light post, like you would see for ships or whatnot. I parked there one night and had Evanescence parked next to me. Their tour bus parked right next to me. And I had to ask my niece, who's Evanescence? Because at the time that this happened, I didn't know who they were. And I was like, whoa, they got a pretty good music here. Yes, I am. How you doing, Steve? I could deliver this, in Wintersville, Ohio, but I'm not taking the risk of being charged a fee for delivering too early. So I have to I'll wait till tomorrow. But the good thing is it is drop and hook. That's why you got that dent in the back of your pickup truck, you idiot. I tell people out here, the way they drive and they got dips and dings all up and down their vehicle. I said, no wonder why your shit's all banged up. Look how you drive. Me, I'm a victim of circumstance. I have a little bit on my quarter panel that was fractured because a deer hit me. I didn't hit the deer hit me. And I have a witness to that too. She didn't see it, but she heard it. I was like, you heard that? She goes, yeah, that was Sammy. It was on Interstate 49, heading from right near Carthage, headed to Joplin, Missouri. No, Steve, I didn't buy that truck. To tell you the truth, I'm glad I'm out of there. I was stuck there a whole week waiting for Peterbilt to work on my truck and then fix that air hose, because they had to manufacture the airline, because you just can't just take like an air hose and hook it. No. They have to be specially manufactured because the type of air pressure these trucks make to withstand the air pressure that the truck makes, That's why they have to be specially manufactured. And they don't manufacture them like crazy because they're very expensive to be made too. That's twice I've had to have that done in the past 6 months. But I'll tell you what, with all the work I had done to my truck in the past 2 weeks, oh yeah, that was a big bill. But all my tires are brand new, got an alignment done, oil change, had that gasket replaced on my air compressor, that new airline, DOT inspected and passed. All that mess, we're looking at about maybe 8 to 9 grand. Yeah, well, the 0 week, that's all right. But that's what you develop an E fund for, an emergency fund. Yeah, it wiped out my emergency fund, and I still got more left over to pay, but I already got that because I just turned to my stocks, called up Merrill Lynch. Hey, send me 10 grand. So that amount of shares that I have in BlackRock and send me the check. It was enough to cover what I owe for the truck, plus replenish my emergency fund. But I had so much done to this truck, I probably won't have to have anything else to do with this truck for the remainder of the year. Knock on wood. Because I have to decide by the end of this year what I'm going to do. If I want to stay with Prime Inc. and haul loads for them, do I want to go out on my own and get my own authority, which is a big pain in the ass. Basically, I might just keep this truck and buy another one. I got a lot of options on the table. I was even thinking about working for a carrier, so I'm home at least on the weekends for my son's football game. Yeah, BA. Yeah, I remember you were the one stream I did. I saw you, Babes in Toyland. That was a good name though. I don't know why you changed it. But that white truck, Prime probably wouldn't approve of me having a truck like that because it was a long nose Pete. But I got to tell you, being under Prime's authority, I have no complaints. I pretty much will do what I want. I make really, I can't ask to make any better money than this, and I could not do this from home. Like if I go and drive for a carrier, I know I'll make at least $1 grand a week, but still, I mean, that's sustainable, but I need more than that. I gotten too used to making more 2 to 3 to 4 times that a week. Oh, wait a minute. This is West Virginia I've been in. Now I'm in Maryland once I cross this bridge. I thought it was already in it. Yeah, this is the Potomac River right here. No, I'm not on 68. I'm on 81 headed north, and I'm going to get on Interstate 70 and take it west. I really try to stay off of 68 because it's so rugged, and you have to slow down at the bottom of this mountain to like 45 miles an hour because there's a town and a nasty curve. I can't remember the name of it, but I think that's Mount Haystack, and it's really nasty, and you burn a lot of diesel going through there. I think the only time I would ever go through there is if I had a real light load, not heavy. Well, there's a bunch of those. Some of you can't avoid. But if you're having a heavy load and going down a grade on a mountain like that, and you got this nasty curve there, yeah, you could look at the Jersey wall on how many times it's been broken and how many times it's been hit. Yeah, not much probably has changed since 1980. Matter of fact, the pavement you're looking at was probably laid back then, back in the 70s and early 80s. Yeah, this is Hagerstown. We call it Hagtown for short. Shit. I'm only a half a mile to the ramp, and it's backed up already. Jeez. Turn the radio up, see what's going on here. Yeah, this got to be the road construction here. Well, I got 40,000 pounds of milk. Look at this van on my right. He was totally out of road, used the shoulder to get around me. I'm like, really? You really made it that far, dude? You're less than 100 yards from me. Eckertown. There's my exit. It's amazing. I had to come to almost a dead stop, and then now it's moving. Doesn't make sense at all. I wish some of my friends that I've known for a long time would come up here and join me, and we'd have a conversation about something. I don't care what it is. Birth control, not birth control, I don't care. Your ex-wife getting an enema, I don't care what it is. We can talk about anything. I'm not judgmental. Thanks a lot, douche. God damn. Idiot. I really can't comment on Trudeau. Don't you have an election going on also? I don't know a whole lot about Trudeau. Only what Canadians say. But I'm telling you this much: the French got it right. They got rid of Macron's ass because nobody wanted Macron. I'll tell you what: the only people that voted for Macron are people that were the rich elite of France, which is a tiny minority of people. I think his name is Jean-Luc Montebourg, who's the Prime Minister of France now. When I said that to some people, Jean-Luc Picard, I'm like, no, you dumb Star Trek fan ass. No. Same name, but the last name is totally different. The election's next year for you guys. Okay. I mean, at least this. At least your leadership isn't as embarrassing as ours is. You can't. We're a cautionary tale. Are you kidding? We're the greatest joke in the entire face of the planet. Our choices now is the prosecuting attorney versus the convict. That's a joke in itself right there. I guess the majority of American people like the rest of the world laughing at us. And the ones who like it are the ones who never go anywhere. Unlike me, I've been to many a countries, and I tell people I'm not an expert of that country. I mean, there was a lot that I learned, but there's still a whole much more I probably still could learn. But and yet they'll sit there and try to tell me so much about the country. They never even been to it before, but they'll tell me about it. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I tell them, look, you're going by what you've been told and what you've been told to believe, and you believe it. Well, that word conservative means different things in different countries. A lot of your Filipinos that do come in, in the live streams that I've been in, they are conservative, okay? But they're not the type of conservative that you would think that conservative means. Politically, they don't vote against their own interest. They're not conservative when they comes to voting for their interest. The majority of people in that country, in the Philippines, lean heavily left. Okay? When it means to the way they conduct themselves as ladies and in a social gathering, they're very conservative, yes. I know a lot of political women that say, I'm conservative, and act like a downright slut at a club. That's not being conservative. That's being very liberal socially. But you may be conservative, but you're not necessarily right-wing leaning. And here's why. Are you a millionaire? Because if you were a millionaire or better, you wouldn't be here right now. No, you're similarly situated like me and everybody else that has been in here. And if you vote for, like if you're here in the States and you vote what they call conservative, you're voting against your own interests, because the Conservative Party only takes care of the rich elite. The rest can go bite the big one. They'll give you a good story, like, oh, we're looking out for you and all that. And no, they're not. Because back in 2016, when Trump won, he gave them all those promises. Yeah, the promises he kept were to the rich, but everybody else that voted for him, that go to his rallies, are still standing there with an empty bag in their hand, with empty promises. Well, stay away from liberals too. That's why last time I voted was for Bernie Sanders. And when he didn't win, and I saw who else was on the list, I voted for Jill Stein in the presidency. I wanted Bernie Sanders in 2016, but he was robbed of that. He should have ran as an independent. But he didn't want to be ostracized like Ralph Nader. What happened to Ralph Nader? Because he ran independent too. And I tell everybody, my fellow countrymen here in the States, I was born December 14th, 1970. And throughout my entire life, not one president or any Congress, for that matter, has done anything for the greater good of the American working class people. Not one thing. Matter of fact, it's gotten worse. They've only taken from us. They haven't given us anything. They haven't done anything for the greater good of the American working class people. So, well, why should they earn my vote if they're not looking out for my interests? Because everybody's voting for the what I call the fruit salad. They're voting for the drama. They're voting for the issues that will not help them at all, and which will not affect their lives at all. I don't know. I'm just driving, I guess. Yeah, that's basically all. I'm real heavy. That's why I'm kind of like taking it easy in this mountain terrain because I didn't want to burn my brakes up. Yeah, let's talk to somebody on the radio. Oh, you were born almost an exact year after Kennedy was assassinated. Even to that date, you can't give me anything that a president did that was for the greater good of the American people. Not a one. They all make all these sweet promises and nothing. It's a big nothing. The only thing they take care of is the rich elite, which they have since FDR passed away, and they've had it their way. They changed the rules. They took away the New Deal. It was the New Deal that wasn't green yet. The New Deal was way back in 1933, which created the middle class in this country that capitalism takes so much credit for. But capitalism fought against. Well, when FDR died, now let me remind you, and you can read about this. 1934, Roosevelt stood up in front of the radio. I don't think they didn't have any TVs yet, but they had radio, and he proposed to tax the rich 100% over a certain amount, which is about $24,000, which the equivalent today would be like $4.5 million. Tax them 100%. Everybody went ballistic, especially the Republican Party, because the Republican Party is always known to be for the rich people and not the poor or the working class. So they made a deal. They came back to Roosevelt. How about 94%? Roosevelt signed it right on the spot. Republicans supported it. Democrats supported it. Nobody said boo. And that's what paid for everything. That's how we were able to create Social Security. The government didn't have any money. We're still suffering from the Great Depression of 1929, or the crash of 29. It lasted all the way through the 30s. Put 14 million people, American people, to work. Government jobs, developing the interstate highways that I'm driving on. Created a lot of things for the working class people. And you know what? The rich paid for it. And they were still the richest people in the world, don't get me wrong. And because he taxed the rich 94%, he was reelected 3 times. A lot of people don't remember that, don't know this. They wouldn't remember it because they weren't alive yet. But they don't know this because that history was not taught. What he did for the American people, he was going to get voted in every time. But he was a quasi-saint. But that was the last great president we had that actually did something for the mass of American people. He was reelected 3 times, and he 445. And when that happened, The rich elite went to work with Congress and started buying off our congressmen, our presidents. They start buying everything off, so it can't operate for the mass of American people. And the first thing they did, they limited the term limits for presidents. We were told so some tyrant don't come to power. Yeah, no, that wasn't the reality of it. The reality of it is they don't want another FDR. That man served 4 terms as president. Probably would have served more if he hadn't died. And Roosevelt didn't do this out of the kindness of his heart. He did change, though, after it and wanted to do more for the American people. But here's what happened. There was a swelling from below, like all revolutions start. Revolutions don't necessarily have to be bloody. Look at Gandhi, where people fight with guns and stuff. The French got it right, but this one was different. We had what they call the CIO back then, the Congress of Industrial Unions. Today it's called the AFL-CIO. Well, they made a coalition and they organized millions of people. And then with American Communist Party and 2 socialist parties of America. And they formed a coalition. And they approached Roosevelt and said, Frank, we like you and we want to support you, but you're going to have to do something for the mass of American people, or you're going to have a revolution on your hands. And Roosevelt was a man of his word. He goes, I'll see what I can do. Give me some time to meet with the rich elite in this country. He knew them because he was a Roosevelt, for God's sake. He knew all these rich people. And he met with them. And he told them, government doesn't have any money. We haven't been collecting taxes because the Great Depression. A lot of people are out of work. People are starving to death. Said, you need to give me the money to help the mass of American people because you're the only ones that got money. The government doesn't have any money. These people don't have any money. And so you better give me some of it or we're going to have a revolution and those people are going to make sure you don't have any money to give me. So you better give me some of it. And all of them bought it except for the forerunners of the Koch brothers. And he went back to them and he said, look, we can do business. I'm going to give you people 65 and older, we're going to give you Social Security. And the government didn't have any money to do this, but then yet he did. Went over the radio. You're 65 and over, we're going to give you a check the rest of your life. And it was nice and high, and you could live off of it. Ever since the late 90s, you could not possibly live on Social Security alone anymore. So, and it was all paid for. Social Security was paid for by taxing the rich 94%. But we American working class did not have to pay into it. But it happened in the early to mid 50s where it was dumped onto all of us. And the rich and corporations got a major tax cut. Because back then it was 94%. In the 1970s, it was 71%. And in the late 80s, it went to 35%. That's a tax cut. That's a tax cut that the American people would never see. It was all dumped onto us. They rolled back the New Deal. The only thing that exists of the New Deal is Social Security, and they've been trying to get rid of it, even though everybody's been paying into it their whole working life. And it's a Ponzi scheme. We've been paying into something we're never going to get. Well, yeah, no, they are people, yes, but they're only a few. Your boards of directors can be 10 to 15 people. And your boards of directors, at the same time, are your major shareholders also. Unless you're somebody that knew how to kiss the right ass at the right time at the right moment. But a lot of Americans are running around coming up with these harebrained notions that this is going to fix our problem. Send back the immigrants. Get rid of these people. We live in a country of 334 million people. They don't have an exact number of how many illegals come in here, but I'll be generous and say 15 million. There are probably 15 million illegals working here in the United States. 15 million versus 334 million. You think that 15 million is going to crash our economy? I highly doubt it. Plus, the corporations want those people here so they can pay them next to nothing. And they can't say anything because if they do, they'll just be deported the next morning when they wake up. Or they get waked up in the middle of the night, thrown on a bus, and taken back over the border. That's why we here in America don't rock that boat, the ones that are smart enough, because I don't want to pay $20, $30 for a head of lettuce. Because that's who works the farms out west, is those people. Not all, but there's a lot of them. They're all Mexican, and they work very hard picking our fruits and vegetables that we like to see in our grocery stores at a cheap price. I like getting an iceberg head of lettuce for 99 cents. And when it's on sale, it's usually 49 cents. But if we throw all those people back over the border and those farmers got to hire people at minimum wage, you're going to spend $10, $10 to $20 for that head of lettuce. And then people are going to want to know why. And I tell them, I've been telling you for years that that's what's going to happen. But American people don't want to listen. Well, I got my beliefs. I said, I put beliefs with Jesus. I go by what I see and the information I get from people that are creditable. Like the global warming shit. I didn't quite believe in it myself, but what I saw right in front of my face, a fellow truck driver by the name of Canadian Rattler, who lived up by the Arctic Circle and showed me that there are no plates out there. It's one big ocean. It's a pool. And he said, no, there were icebergs and there were, plates of ice out there you could walk on even during the summertime, but it's all gone now. He said, this global warming shit's real. And he just lost his house last summer because the permafrost melting, it started off at the coast and all of a sudden it made like a cliff in his backyard. It was like 100-foot cliff. Well, his house finally fell down there because the permafrost melted. He now lives in Delta by Vancouver, BC, British Columbia. But a lot of people that lived on what they call on the permafrost, a lot of people lost their houses. There was a lucky few that was able to get their houses moved. They jacked them up and they got a wide flatbed underneath it and moved the house. But only very few got that done. I said, people, the permafrost, it's in abundance, and it's in northern Canada. That's why they call it permafrost, because it's permanently frozen. Not anymore. But you're not going to get no bullshit from me. What he showed me that day up there by his house when I was by Yellowknife, I was like, wow, this shit's real. He goes, yeah, it is. That's why when everybody would talk about it on our chat line, it don't exist anymore because it unraveled because a lot of people couldn't get along because of their beliefs. Canadian Rattler would keep his mouth shut about global warming. He would, because they would never believe him. And that's what he told me. I never talked about it because nobody would believe me. Now you do. You're my only witness that I have in the chat line that knows it. Yeah, this global warming shit's real. All you got to do is talk to somebody from northern Canada. Yeah, he's a heavy haul trucker. He'll go through the prairie. I think the farthest east he goes is uh, Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Yeah, he'll go out, he'll come back. But it started off great. We had anywhere between 20 to 30 truckers on that chat line. You call a number, you put in the code, boom, you're in. You just state your road name, boom, you're in. We have a lot of friends. A lot of us knew each other because of Road Dog Trucking Radio on Sirius XM Radio, because everybody in the chat line had Sirius XM Radio. And a lot of them liked me because I would guest host with Casey Phillips on Road Dog Live. There were some people that hated me, but that goes with the territory. I got people that hate me here on YT. I'm like, why do you hate me so much? I don't hate you. I hardly even know you, but you hate me? Makes no sense. And these people are supposed to be adults, no doubt. And a lot of them still act like they're on the playground at school. I left the playground in school years ago. I'm not going to act that way. God damn it, Sean, you put the goddamn thumbtack on my chair again. You put the saran wrap on the toilet seat in the girls' room. Oh, that was a good one there. But that's how you got the girls' attention. I'd be like, how you know I did it? Oh, the memories. Yeah, here in 2 miles is Junction I-68. But don't get me wrong, it is a beautiful drive going through there, though. Excuse me. I'm going to have a lot of people going, well, I didn't know you did a live stream. I wish I would have known about it. You sent me a message. I would have been there. Don't worry about it. If you're not able to show up, you can watch the replay. Excuse me. God damn. Got all this shit falling down everywhere. It's like, man, they really need to fix these roads. But if there's anybody in here still, I can't quite tell, and nobody's really typed anything. Come to Darren Dobson tomorrow night at 9:30 Eastern Time. That's when he usually starts. Promote your channel, make new friends, and do some karaoke if you wish. Have on a ball. Because most of y'all can't go to nightclubs. I can't. I mean, I can if I'm lucky, if I'm near a place and have the time to, but most of the time I don't. Well, I know that guy's empty. Yeah, Amazon. And another Amazon. Uh, oh, wow. This can't be right. 1.3 miles, Breezewood, Pennsylvania. I might shut down at the TA there. Hey, you and the camper. There you go. You'll see him pass me here in a second. Like my lane was closing off. Hey, if you want to complain, I could have stayed in that lane and not used the right-hand lane that closed up on me. Then where you would be, right back there in that same lane that you're in right now. Well, come on. Come on, drive that thing. You got to be a lovely lady right next to you. Hey, pay attention! You're going to crash into the guardrail. Look, I'm saying this. He's driving a combination vehicle like that. There needs to be more than just a Class D can get him. No, no, no. They need to train these people driving these trailers because I see them wrecking them all the damn time. I'd say, hey, they need to go through some extra training and have a special license to pull a trailer that big behind a pickup truck. Because a lot of them do not know what they're doing. Especially in Wyoming, the wind could be really bad, and those things are really lightweight. They're not heavy. They get blown all over the freaking highway. I mean, you look at us, yeah, we're just as tall as they are, maybe a little taller. But the deal is, even with a lot of weight on inside of our trailer, we could still get blown over that because that's a stiff wind out there. Could go 60 to 80 miles an hour, boom, a big wind gust can dump us over. Imagine what it could do to that pickup truck and that trailer. Welcome to Pennsylvania. I got to get away from this state for a while, man. I was stuck here for 2 weeks waiting on Peterbilt to get all that crap done to my truck. And I was 30 miles away from where Trump almost bit the bullet. Don't know. There's a lot of stories out there. You don't know what to believe. Maybe it was just some crazy white kid at the age of 20 who can't get laid, just shot a bunch of people. Just like every mass shooting here in the States. Every one of them is the same situation. Guns do not kill people. No, no, no. White 20-something-year-old males who can't get laid kill people. Because they posted it all on 4chan about it. Oh, I can't get a girlfriend. I got nothing to live for. I'm going to just go and shoot up a bunch of people. Yeah, that's what they put. Almost every one of them. But this one that shot Dad Trump, they can't find anything on this kid. It's really strange. It was like this back in the day, and it hasn't been like that since. My generation was like this. Girl didn't care what you looked like per se or anything like that. Let's put it that way. Job in a car. If you don't have a job in a car, you ain't going to get anywhere with the girls, regardless of how good looking you think you are. But when the late 90s rolled around to this day, that doesn't mean anything. You could be, not have a car. You can have a bicycle and not have a job and live in mommy's daddy's basement and still get with all these girls like, hey, it's great and everything. You look good. That's all that counts. It's like the responsible things were thrown out the window. Because I discussed this with some of the drivers at the restaurant and the truck stop. And this young black kid, he looked like he was probably 25 years old, was a driver, was hearing us all talk about this. And he goes, I can't say I can't agree with you, but like, what the fuck are we doing? He said it just like that. And I looked at the kid and I'm like, yeah, what are we doing? Maybe we all should go without work and we can find women. That young kid was funny. What the fuck are we doing? But if you're a fireman, oh, that's easy. Just being a fireman will do it for you. But being a what they call trucker trash like us, that right there, you got 3 strikes against you already. It's like our society and our culture tells people, oh, that's the way it is. It never changes. Those are all trashy men. Even though there are a lot of women in trucking. Not all, but for the most part. But they're horrible people. Did you ever see the movie Joyride? Rusty Nail, that murderous bastard. And then the whole society thinks that, oh, the truckers are like Rusty Nail from Joyride. It's like, idiot, that was a freaking movie. Sure, it was a good movie. It was thrilling, but it was far from the truth. You don't hear on the news about a bunch of truckers getting busted for being like Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, do you? Or acting like Hannibal Lecter. No, I'm not in fog. Usually it's foggy at night. There might be a smudge on my lens of my camera on my phone. I can't get to it right away. But if you please leave your name and number, I will get back to you as soon as possible. See, I hate being the only one to talk. I wish I was going through Ohio by Columbus. They got that mental institution. I swear to God, every time I go by there, there's a guy. You can see some of the patients hanging around outside. One of them sitting on a bench, looking all depressed, like he's watching TV, saying, I want to watch the World Series. And then there's this other one that's dancing around and everything, and he looks right out at the highway every time I pass the place, looking right at me, saying, you'll be here soon. I thought about doing that. Just going to visit random people at a mental institution and do a live stream about it. That would be very entertaining. I'd like to give it a shot. I mean, my sons talked me and part of the boys from the football team talked me into doing some of the shit that they did. There's this channel called The Boys. I think most of them are from Australia. They talked me into doing crap like this. We visited restaurants that were 3 stars or worse. And I'm like, I ain't doing this again. One of the kids ended up getting sick and everything, and I'm like, guys, what? And they're all laughing about it too. I'm like, I ain't eating that damn shit. And that's where they got the idea. Dad, let's do that. I'm like, I'll drive you guys. You can ride with me. We'll go around, but I may not participate. Because I looked at some of this food and I'm like, I can see why it's only 2 stars here. That looks like something that was hitting the street in front of the place. And the boys were complaining, this is some gross crap. It was your guys' idea to do this, not mine. I'm like, I'll pay for it, but not every time. Y'all are going to help me. Oh, come on, Dad. You can afford it. Yeah, I know I can afford it, but I'm not going to get used like that. No. I'm like, everybody cough up $20 and I'll take care of the rest. We hit I think it was about 4 or 5 different restaurants. And I bumped into them as of late, and they're like, guys, come up with something else. I'll never do that again. We'll do some other stupid shit depending on what it is. Like if you want to go cow tipping, we can do that. But eating at 3-star restaurants or below, no, I'm not doing that again. I think there was only one that was a 1-star restaurant, but in my opinion, that food was better than the other ones. I think one of them was a 1-star restaurant, 3 of them were 2 stars, and the other one was a 3-star restaurant. The majority of them were 2 stars, and only one was a 1-star. And the 1-star restaurant food was better than the other ones, in my opinion. But I was like, I'm not going to touch that, and end up with a damn disease or something. I don't know. I'm like, who the hell eats at this place? Has been keeping this place in business. I wouldn't even feed that to my worst enemy. Matter of fact, MREs and sea rats was a better dish than what I've seen in some of those restaurants. It's like, oh, that's a slice of ham there, sir. I'm like, I said, in an MRE, a ham slice looks better than this. But I waited, and I'm glad I did. We're at this one 2-star restaurant, and I ended up having hash browns and grits. The hash browns were okay because I like them extra crispy. They were crispy all the way through. And the grits were kind of runny, and I was used to that because if you're not in the South and you get grits, they're either come out in one clump or very runny and go all over the plate if they don't put them in a bowl. You got to go down south to get a good dose of grits. And I usually eat mine with cheese and put a lot of pepper on top. Because instead of using my knife and fork to eat the hash browns, I just lifted it up off the plate and it was like one big potato chip type thing. That's because it was totally crispy all the way through. As soon as I lifted it up off my plate, the boys were laughing at me. And I'll never forget it. The parents ran, "Where'd you take my son?" I mean, it was their idea, Sarah. And then she started laughing. "You boys are crazy." And like, you didn't help at all. I'm like, hey, I just felt like I was one of the boys, you know? And that it was their idea to go to a 3-star restaurant or lower to test out the food. I mean, at least they did something stupid and funny like that instead of doing something out of line or getting hooked up on drugs and doing some really raunchy shit. You know, I'm just glad. I'd rather have done that with the boys than them do something to get themselves into trouble. And to me, it was worth it. And that was that day. Some of the parents from the football team realized, now I know why they like you and they call you Uncle BS. I said, look, kids will be kids. You can try to control them, but I remember when I was a kid, we did the same thing, okay? And I tell them this, look, I can't stop you from talking like that or the way you want to. And just, you know, try to keep it under control because you don't have to talk that way. But if you do, don't do it around mixed company or especially around your mothers. I said, that I won't agree with. They thought I was cool. And I'm like, I mean it. Do not talk like this around girls or your mothers. And I said, if you got a girl that's hanging around you guys and she's cussing like you guys, I don't care how cute she is. That's a girl you don't want unless she changes. Because females don't talk like that. They probably do amongst each other, but not what I call mixed company. I can easily cuss like a truck driver, you know, but when it comes to being around women in a social gathering, I don't talk that way. And for the most part, I really don't cuss like a truck driver, even though I am one, which is kind of an irony. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here, guys. I'm going to listen to some music and hopefully somebody else starts a live stream. That this is really getting sad. I used to look forward to going to at least a couple live streams a day. Now it's only like once or twice a week, and it's sad. You guys have a good one. Thanks for coming. Hope you people enjoyed the replay. Y'all have a good day.